Oh, Bill.
Thank you, John. John, I want to go back a few steps to that incident up at the college with the professor where he was breaking into his house and the police acted stupidly. I never quite got it because he was renting that property from the college. Now, how do you break in from something you're renting? You call the campus maintenance and they come over with a key. My observation is that was the first setup to start the ball rolling here. He should have called campus maintenance, got a key, and came in. But they orchestrated this thing. They knew somebody would call and say, hey, somebody's breaking in. And they flew at that, and they had their BFS and all, and the cops acted stupidly. That was a setup.
Well, that was, thank you, Bill. That was the first incident where it began, and we've seen basically where the police are thrown under the bus. The police, you saw the policeman when they had the big beer summit that summer. I mean, the policeman was very reasonable. He was the one that was screaming. They didn't know who he was, but that was the first incident where Bill is correct, where the president basically, kind of threw the police under the bus, and now we're faced with there's a war on police in this country. Let's go to line 6. Robin is listening on KBET in Las Vegas. Robin, this is John DePetro, and you're up on the Savage Nation.
Yes, sir. Thanks for taking my call.
Welcome.
Caller. I just wanted to make 2 remarks. I can't believe that the president, our chief, is sitting there making the remarks that he made on a podcast or any type of cast using the N-word. It's not a word I use, and I'm 49 years old. We don't use it any longer. But to the flag, I see 2 points on the Confederate flag. You cannot forget the past of where you come from and what has happened and where you're going, and just be glad that you're no longer there. The flag should remain to be whatever it wants to be because it is our history, and we're trying to erase history, and he's trying to stir the pot by bringing everybody that he can bring when it was handled in such a dignified way. He wants to bring people there to riot and start another Ferguson when they handled it so well, and my heart goes out to these wonderful people that did the right thing the way they have conducted themselves in this state. And that's all I have to say, that I'm very saddened today. It's a sad day in this country, like Dr. Savage would say.
Yes.
That he is doing what he's doing, and people are just falling in at will.
No, it's true, Robin. Thank you for the call. Let's go to line 4. Ben is listening on WGOW in Tennessee. Ben, you're up on the Savage Nation. Hello, Ben.
Hey, John. Thanks for having me on.
Welcome.
It's 3 inconvenient truths, if you'll allow me to discuss them quickly. I support the flag being flown there. As a son of the South, I grew up in public schools, believing that being ashamed of my Southern heritage because of everything I was taught in history. The North was right because it was trying to free the slaves, and the South was just trying to keep people in bondage. They were completely wrong, and I believe that. Growing up as a child, as an adult, I read and read and read, and found out that the flag has been hijacked over all these years. The Confederate flag has been hijacked, just like the rainbow has been hijacked, just like the American flag could have been hijacked. There's many people across the globe who would look at the American flag and think of it as a symbol of hate. People would look at the rainbow and say that the rainbow is a symbol of sexual perversion, when it's just a common childhood nice symbol.
Well, but Ben, when you have, when you correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe, the Klan has used the Confederate flag as a backdrop. This alleged gunman used this as a backdrop. And when you talk about hijacking, it's tough to, some of the people that have latched onto it, don't you agree that they're the ones that have hijacked it?
The people who have latched onto it have hijacked, just like the gay and lesbian committee has hijacked the rainbow.
I don't think you can't compare the two. With no matter how much you may not like that. I was unaware that someone was offended that someone grabbed the rainbow flag, but you're talking about somebody going into a church and allegedly, massacring, brutally murdering for absolutely no reason 9 beautiful people that were just there to have a Bible service. Let's go to line 1. Rodney is listening on WBAP in Dallas, Fort Worth. Rodney, this is John DePetro, and you're up on the Savage Nation. Hello, Rodney.
Hello, John. Thanks for having me on.
Welcome.
The president's racial slur is just going to increase the division, and the burning of the Confederate flag is is going to increase a division. And we're really talking about using language of division these days. But, I think one thing that's going to help in reuniting this country is celebrating our common Christian religious heritage that we have. And I'm an African American man, and I'm here in Virginia. And one thing that I'm doing, I have a nonprofit, and we're talking to our state rep and getting an actual date of recognition of our religious Christian heritage, which goes back to 1607.
Well, Rodney, let's stick on what you initially said. You're exactly right. With now this talk, thank you, Rodney. There's going to be a national burn the Confederate flag day that's already petitioned on Facebook, and that's going to get people angry because it does mean, Southern pride, and it means a lot to people that grew up with it and think of the history and don't think of it as a hateful tool. But the president is the wrong person. We have the wrong person in office. I mean, is there anyone listening that you believe that President Obama has tried to bridge the divide with race relations? It does. It seems to be worse. 1-855-400-SAVAGE is our phone number. If you'd like to call in, first-time callers welcome. 1-855-400-7282. Do you think it's wrong that they're going to take down the Confederate flag? And how about the burning of the Confederate flag? I think that's just going to inflame people even more. Let's go to line 7. Jay is listening on WMAL in Washington. Jay, you're up on the Savage Nation. Hello, Jay.
Hi. If we're going to be taking this kind of double standard approach and kind of a knee-jerk reaction to burning the Confederate flag, I got to say we're going down a dangerous road. Not only is it history, but we have double standards and hypocrisy again, because in the North during the Civil War, we had 5 slaveholding states that fought in the Union. You know those states?
I don't.
Okay. Delaware, Maryland, Missouri, Kentucky, and West Virginia.
But what's your point?
My point is, what are they trying to achieve by burning a flag that is it's just history symbolic?
As much as you say that, Jay, thank you for the call. For some people, it means more than that. It means you talk to anyone, listen to some of the comments from people who will play it of African Americans. It means a lot more than just, that's history, especially when you have a killer that just gunned down allegedly 9 people and he's standing posing with it. 1-855-400-SAVAGE. This is John DePetro sitting in for Dr. Michael Savage, and this is the Savage Nation.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
My Savage Nation is sponsored by SwissAmerica.com, the only company I trust to protect my wealth with gold and silver. Call 800-BUICOIN.
Our problem is not all kooks and Klansmen. It's also the cruel joke that goes unchallenged. It's the offhand comment about not wanting those people in the neighborhood. Let's be honest. For a lot of well-meaning, open-minded white people, the sight of a young black man in a hoodie still evokes a twinge of fear.
That is Hillary Clinton. You're listening to the Savage Nation. This is John DePetro sitting in for Dr. Michael Savage. You can call into the program at 1-855-400-SAVAGE, 1-855-400-7282, and also go to our website, michaelsavage.com, all the latest news and headlines. Let's go to line 3. Jesse is listening to the Savage Nation on WBAP in Fort. Jesse once, twice. We'll go to Jeff on line 5, who's listening on KUGN in Oregon. Jeff, this is John DePetro, and you're up on the Savage Nation. Hello, Jeff.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. First, I want to say that my heart goes out to those victims in this church shooting, and I'm proud to have the people, those family members, who were so courageous in forgiving this guy, who I'm not sure deserves forgiving, but proud to have him as fellow citizens. As far as the shooter, I believe it's he was created by things that have been done with this administration, and I believe there was a story about him really getting involved in racism after the Trayvon situation.
Yep.
And what I think the problem is the left is running out of racists. They have got to keep creating racists to keep the race hustlers in business and keep their voting blocks and all that kind of stuff. They're running out.
Well, Jeff, but it's it's tough to ignore someone that allegedly walks into a church and says, "I'm here to kill black people," and then proceeds to shoot and kill 9 people.
Right. I think that's horrific, and but I believe that him watching the situations like the Trayvon Martin thing, which was based on a lie, and that's my information is that that kind of inspired him to become a racist or more active in that kind of mindset, which is important.
Listen, Jeff, I mean, I think anyone that would create or commit an act like this to show up and want to make an incident and want to make history and make a point and do it at this famous church where these people have gathered, including a child, for Bible study, and then to go in, I just don't buy any type of motivation or anything like that. And then, he was a coward. The reports are that he then was supposedly was going to kill himself, and he didn't plan it. He had run out of bullets, and then basically just fled. But I agree with those that say, if this guy who is so evil and such a low form of life, if he was really a tough guy and really wanted confrontation, then he would have gone into a tough neighborhood or faced off against a gang. But could there be a bigger coward than to walk into a church, of all people, and shoot and kill innocent people that gathered for a Bible study? What about the flag being taken down? It's going to be taken down. 1-855-400-SAVAGE. John DePetro sitting in for Dr. Michael Savage. You're listening to the Savage Nation. You're listening to the Savage Nation. This is John DePetro sitting in for Dr. Michael Savage. You can join the program by simply dialing 1-855-400-SAVAGE. Just dial 1-855-400-7282. Don't forget, log on to the website, michaelsavage.com. And also sign up for the Savage newsletter at michaelsavage.com. The Savage newsletter arrives 2 to 3 times per week, right to your inbox, totally free. Sign up at michaelsavage.com, where you can also celebrate America this July 4th with Countdown to Mecca, the latest bestseller by Dr. Michael Savage. Just a reminder, the Savage Scholarship winners will be announced July 2nd. Now think of this. Michael Savage put $100,000 into this. 1,700 applicants. 5 will be chosen. They'll receive $20,000 each. And all you had to do was submit an essay on what it means to be an American. The winners will be announced July 2nd, obviously 2 days right before our nation's celebration of birth, July 4th. And again, be listing scholarship winners announced on July 2nd. And remember, when you're on michaelsavage.com for all the latest news and headlines, or the Drudge Report, where you can always get the latest headlines, like the Weather Channel taking an active stance on climate change. Weather Channel looking beyond cold fronts, summer showers. A project features the voice of 25 prominent people talking about the need to take action on climate control. Now, the Weather Channel says it's, quote, Climate 25. That's the name of it. The series is about science, not politics. Fox News reports Southern Baptists urge to reject any laws legalizing gay marriage. Prepare for civil disobedience. That's the message one prominent pastor sending 16 million members of the Southern Baptist Convention, saying American Christians should be prepared for massive fallout if the Supreme Court legalizes same-sex unions. You also have the outrageous story that I saw on the Drudge Report. Now, we've been talking about the fact that President Obama did an interview. The White House has already said he's not going to walk it back. The president did an interview where he dropped the N-word and was trying to make a point on race, even though let's face it, there's an appropriate time for it. I don't think the commander-in-chief should use that language. And there's also, if you're trying to bring people together, would you use language that only certain groups of people can use? Well, now